a musician in the theater industry always comes with expenses, whether it's equipment or software or travel or just things in general. Today, I'd like to talk about the equipment and software side of things. How much did I actually spend on music equipment in 2023? And did I think these purchases were worth it? Okay, so first a disclaimer, I am not a tech girl. I would much rather never deal with technology when it comes to music. I understand how helpful it is to the industry and to the theater industry, how useful it is in paid orchestras, but I'm not the authority on it by any means. That being said, let's get into it. So the first big expense that I had for 2023 was my in-ears. I had never used in-ears before, and let me tell you, these things are life-changing. Let me talk about the Shure 215s, which I spent $99 on. These things are absolutely magical. I highly recommend. This is probably the thing I used the most and continually use the most, like not just to plug into avions, but literally just to listen to music when I'm on an airplane. The foam tips really allow for amazing noise cancellation. They also provide hearing protection, which is important to me. When I was on tour, the brass section was right behind me. Not only could I adjust my avion mix to whatever I personally needed to hear for the show, but it also allowed me to protect my hearing from the trumpets that were right behind my ear. The Shure 215s come with the case, so that was not an added cost. But what I did purchase in addition to my in-ears in general was a set of extra foam tips to be able to replace the disgustingness of you know, they can get dirty pretty quickly. An 8-pack or 4 pairs of the foam tips cost me $18.89. 100% worth it. The next item on the list is my foot switch. Was this worth it? Well, let's dive into that first. So I've worked with a couple different theater companies this year, and most of them provided me a keyboard that did not have a hookup for my foot switch. So unfortunately, it hasn't really been that worth it for me. When I toured, the rig is already set up for you, so that was not a purchase that I had to make myself. However, when I'm playing around with MainStage at home, the foot switch really comes in handy. I mean, honestly, just be able to program this thing directly into MainStage and practice with it and work with it, I would say it's kind of worth it. But truthfully, for me, I do not use MainStage at home enough to justify this purchase. The switch itself was $46.49, and then the additional purchase of a cable to connect the foot switch, obviously, it was $6.99. So, I mean, worth it to have the extra cable. Yeah, I don't know, take with it what you will. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this next $6.99, I feel was the best absolute purchase of 2023, and that is extra adapters. $6.99 to have peace of mind literally came in handy. There was one time that one of the adapters was crushed in a pit move right before a dress rehearsal, and I literally was able to just pull one of these things out of my backpack. No rehearsal time lost. Best $6.99 of my life. This next one is a little bit of a package deal, and yeah, let's get into it. This is my very basic MIDI keyboard that I purchased just to kind of test it out and see if it was something that I would be getting enough use out of or not. So glad that I did not spend this much on this, because I've really kind of found that technology is very much not my thing. The keyboard itself cost me $41.90. The hardshell case, which does not come with a keyboard, was $25.99. And then the extra USB cord that I purchased for it was $9.99. I did not need to purchase this because a USB cord already came with the keyboard, but I didn't know that, so if you purchase this keyboard, just know that it comes with that. The reasons why I did not find this purchase worth it was mostly because I was using the keyboard basically to write things into Finale. I have developed my own system and my own way of using Finale over the years, so it just felt like a whole added step. If I was using Finale for the first time and learning how to use the program and was able to incorporate the use of the MIDI keyboard into my learning process, I feel like then it would have been worth it. But I feel like because I'm so used to the way that I personally use Finale, it's been collecting dust in my closet, really, and that's sad. I cannot show you my music stand at the moment because it's currently holding this camera, but the stand itself was $29.99, and because it was an Amazon purchase, it came with a case and an extra keyboard clip, and I don't know, just super basic stand gets the job done. Again, we're not super high tech over here. And I mainly purchased this because I moved this year and needed something to hold my music. So there's that. And for the grand total for equipment in 2023, I spent $286.23. So all in all, not terrible. Now let's move on to software and subscriptions, and I'm going to move pretty quickly through this since there's not a lot to tell. A lot of these are one-time purchases, which is fantastic. As far as Finale goes, I use Finale pretty much every single day of my life, so yes, this $99 upgrade was absolutely worth it. I'll admit that I get to cheat a little bit on this one because I got my first version of Finale as a Christmas present when I was 12, so I've had the program for a while now. That being said, when I upgraded, I had still been operating out of Finale 2008, and I still don't know how that happened. It's all updated now. If you upgrade from a previous version of Finale, the upgrade itself is only $99. So all in all, I feel like that's a pretty solid purchase, especially for something that you are going to be using a lot. So going along with Finale, the other big purchase of the year that has changed my life, Note Performer. We need to talk about Note Performer. Note Performer is an amazing thing. If you don't know about Note Performer, basically it's an audio bank that works with Finale. So when you go into playback, it basically has more realistic sounds than sort of the twangy MIDI fake sounds that you usually hear when you use playback in Finale. Note Performer itself is a grand total of $129, and it's a one-time purchase worth every single cent. Mainstage cost me $29.99, one-time purchase, so worth it. Even if you just don't like how your personal keyboard sounds and you want to mess with new sounds, Mainstage is such a playground. Even if you are not a theater performer and you are programming Mainstage for various things, or if you're working for a church, or regardless, $29.99 is not that much money to spend on something that is just even going to be really fun to play around with. Okay, so my two subscriptions that are ongoing, and after looking at these costs, I should probably do something about this. I pay for Apple Music every month, and I also pay for more iCloud storage every month. These cost me $20.98 total per month. So, $251.76 for the year is kind of killing my soul. I should probably do something about that, because yikes. I will get back to you on that, whether it's worth it or not. Oof. Total software for the year adds up to significantly more than equipment at $509.75. Now, keep in mind that these purchases are forever purchases, so most of these are just one-time fees that I'm not going to have to pay again unless the software changes, which it most significantly will as time goes on. But for now, very worth it, especially if you work as a pianist in musical theater. So if we take a look at equipment and software combined, the grand total of software and equipment combined for 2023 I spent $795.98. I hope this gave you some insight into the occupational costs of being a pianist in the world of musical theater, or just a musician in general, and some really helpful equipment and software that you might be thinking about purchasing. Definitely thought that this total would have been significantly more, so I'm pretty happy with that amount, especially since I can write off all of this. I consider all of the worth it purchases as investments, and investments in the future of my career. I don't know, that sounds so hokey. I hope you've enjoyed this breakdown of the expenses of all of the equipment and software that I purchased in 2023. Comment down below if you'd like me to share more of these expense breakdowns as a musician in the freelance world.